What's this? /r/guns are cool? I agree, Reddit. Guns are cool. Let's take a look at some of the ways guns are cool.
Update: boy shot by his uncle while hunting squirrels has died. Motley, Minnesota.
Toddler dies after shooting himself in the head Monday in St. Louis. Toddler dies after shooting himself in the head Monday in St. Louis.
Fired guns and hit the wrong and hit the drive-by sheriff says.
Hey, wait a minute, guys. I don't think this subreddit thinks guns are cool at all. I think this is an anti-gun subreddit. Oh no!
Why so many Americans think the government wants their guns.
What started to happen was they just started saying it publicly in front of cameras.
Hell yes, we're going to take your AR-15, your AK-47. We're not going to allow it to be used against our fellow Americans anymore.
Given the fact that we can't necessarily stop Indiana without federal interference, I do think there are some things we need to do here in Illinois to just take guns away. I guess I have peace about that issue because I don't think people should have guns. Nobody needs to have a gun, period. And we shouldn't be doing that in America. I'm very anti-gun, you may know.
You will not stop us from advancing the Protecting Our Kids Act today. You will not stop us from passing it in the House next week, and you will not stop us there. If the filibuster obstructs us, we will abolish it. If the Supreme Court objects, we will expand it, and we will not rest until we have taken weapons of war out of circulation in our communities. Each and every day, we will do whatever it takes to end gun violence, whatever it takes.
I'm determined to ban assault weapons in this country. Determined. I did it once before, and I'll do it again.
But we live in America, and we have the Second Amendment, and we have the Supreme Court of the United States telling everybody they can carry a gun wherever they want. It's like Dodge City. I mean, so like we have to come to grips with what this country is about right now. I mean, I was in Canada 2 weeks ago, never thought about a gun. The only people I knew had guns up in Canada were police officers. And that's the way it should be here.
What's the mayor doing about this?
If I had the ability to take care of guns, I would. But the legislature won't let us. The U.S. Congress won't let us. The governor does the best he can. Our attorney general does the best he can. But this is a gun country. It's crazy. We're the most armed country in world history, and we're one of the least safest. So, you know, until Americans decide that they want to give up the guns and give up the opportunity to get guns, we're going to have this problem.
Well, GG Reddit, but two can play that game. r/guns are cool, actually. A brand new subreddit that doesn't exist yet. Oh, wait a minute. There's already one called r/defensive gun use. Based. Everybody who has a Reddit account, subscribe to r/DGU. It's based.
Gun-owning couple detains home invader who climbed into their 7th-floor loop apartment, prosecutors say. Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago. Nice. You know, a lot of people talk about how Chicago is super dangerous, but that's honestly an exaggeration. The crime in Chicago is mostly contained to some neighborhoods on the south side. That being said, if more people are as based as this couple, Chicago could bring down their crime rate even more.
Intruder shot, killed during Detroit home invasion, police say. Detroit, Michigan.
Heh, sounds like your average day in Detroit. Detroit, the one city where gun ownership isn't optional. In all seriousness though, the Detroit downtown is actually pretty good. I visited it a few months ago. It was a nice walk. I stopped at a pizza restaurant and it was really good. Detroit still has a long way to go, but it's slowly healing.
Concealed carry holder shoots burglar in Chinatown, Chicago, Illinois.
Another Chicago one. Wow, I'm surprised. Way to go, Chicago.
Home invasion suspect shot while stealing dog, Dunn, North Carolina.
Good, you piece of shit. I hope you rot in hell. Going around stealing dogs, who does that shit? Fuck you.
Syracuse man was justified for shooting to death neighbor at downtown apartment building, lawyer says, Syracuse, New York.
So I read into this one a little bit more, and as is typical of New York, they're trying to label the person who defended himself a murderer. So, keep a close eye on this case, I guess? Open up a GoFundMe? That is what you do, right? A GoFundMe? You know what? I suggest we get rid of already existing gun control. I suggest instead of raising the age to buy a gun to 21, we lower the age to 12 years old. Yeah, for your 12th birthday, you're not getting a $19 Fortnite card.
Okay, $19 Fortnite card. Who wants it?
You're getting a Smith & Wesson 686. I also propose that instead of more background checks, we get rid of the federal background check. That way, buying a gun literally is just as easy as walking in and out. Hell yeah, buying a gun should be that easy. And since we no longer have a federal background check, I also propose literal gun vending machines, and put them everywhere. You know how Tokyo is full of all these cool quirky vending machines everywhere? Well, do that, but for gun vending machines. And you know those gumball machines you see at the entrances of those soulless big chain restaurants? I say we should take those machines but replace the gumballs with bullets. I also think schools shouldn't be gun-free zones. I think every school should have an indoor shooting range, and shooting classes should be mandatory. And if you think I'm gonna stop at guns, you're wrong. I propose we legalize private tank ownership too. You should be allowed to drive your tanks down the roads. You should be allowed to drive a tank with a marijuana joint in your mouth while grabbing a hooker's ass on one hand and firing a full auto machine gun on the other hand while on your way to the Bitcoin casino. Lawbird moment, am I right? But there's one problem with my flooding the streets of America with as many guns as possible plan. Other countries don't have the same amount of guns America has. So I suggest we buy a bunch of drones and put baskets underneath them, fill them with guns and ammo, and fly the drones across the border up north so our Canadian brothers over at the White Mountains can also have a taste of freedom. Across the border down south so our Mexican brothers can fight off the cartels. Across the ocean to our friends over at the UK and France and New Zealand and Australia. Drop the guns there so that their populations can also be armed, just like America. Yeah. So, those are my proposals for getting rid of gun control. If you don't like them, fuck you.
Do you notice anything different about me or anything unusual?
Only that you're carrying a gun.
Does that worry you?
No, not really.
We've been wandering up and down Little Collins Street now for about 5 minutes. And whilst a lot of people noticed I was carrying a gun, what was amazing was very few of them seemed concerned. And then again, there were almost as many people who didn't even seem to notice that I was carrying a gun.
I think it's been generally proven right throughout the world that stricter firearms legislation is not the answer. We need stricter penalties for illegal use of firearms.
So you just said then, you're willing to die for this. Really? If the police come in here now, they raided you, you got caught somehow, what, you're gonna fight them or what?
Basically, yes. Basically, but fuck gun control 9mm. Is a firearm that is truly effective for self-defense, being offensive. And at the same time, it's a firearm that you're able to build yourself as an average Joe with no specialized tooling, with no special knowledge. Make an FGC-9, you need around, I'd say, 1.5 weeks to 2 weeks.
That quick?
Yes.
And especially for you, Mr. Gore. from my cold, dead hands.